Carl Taylor, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thanks, mate.
Mate, I'm really looking forward to this chat. Look, you've been involved in the building industry, I don't know how many years, but you created something pretty cool about 6 years ago. You're actually the chairman of the Combined Building Suppliers Co-op. You told me you bat for the small guy. Let's talk about that today, and let's talk about marketing. Yeah. Let's talk about the construction industry, and let's talk about how we can actually help businesses in New Zealand.
That's what it's about. It's about, our whole industry is small guys, so that's why we went down that track. Yeah.
So you started the co-op, and obviously you started it for the small guys. But were you thinking, hey, someone's got to help these guys? What was the thinking process really behind it?
So what really happened is, there's a few conflicting stories as to how the thing started up, but I was at a point in my career where I had built quite a good web business, known for building, I guess, medium to, probably not top-end builds, but certainly medium builds on the hills. And quite frankly, it was just that I couldn't compete. I missed out on a job. There were four of us that were pricing it. And I knew that I wasn't getting the buy. It was either I wasn't getting the buy power or I'd completely stuffed up my quote because I was about 200K out.
Oh, wow.
So, I thought, well, I'll go back to my merchant and see if I can negotiate a better deal. And they said to me, yeah, hey, no problems. We'll give you a better deal, but you need to be spending probably 5 times what you are.
Oh, wow.
And that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
So come back later.
Yeah.
Come back when you're bigger.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty tough there. Like, when you're doing a good job and even if someone wants to do business with you, you're not going to get past 200K.
No, it's pretty risky. It's a risky game as it is.
Yeah.
So I came back with me and me mate, another builder.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, what if 2 of us came back and maybe we're spending 400K now?
Okay.
And they said no.
Oh, really?
So what am I going to do now?
Miles away, eh?
So I went back with 5.
Yep.
There's 5 of us now.
Okay.
And they said, yeah, we'll give you a deal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But 1 account.
Ooh.
And I didn't want to take the risk for me old mate.
Yeah, no, that's...
Especially the credit risk.
Yeah, exactly.
So I vented my frustration on LinkedIn and a colleague and business partner now, Mike, saw it.
Oh, classic.
And put us together.
Mike Blackburn. Brilliant.
Mm.
So you kind of started to have the idea, oh, hang on, there's obviously power in buying, coming together, but the risk was too great to, and you can definitely see that how you wouldn't want to be paying the bill for 5, right?
No.
What did you two then start to brainstorm? Did you think, hey, co-op straight away, or were you thinking, how were you?
I didn't even know what a cooperative was. I knew there was farmlands and Fonterra, but I had no clue.
So essentially, for people listening, what is the co-op? What is it? What is it?
Well, a co-op's a structure where it's owned by its shareholders.
Nice.
So, and all cooperatives are like that. They're shareholder owned.
Yeah.
So
a buying group then, same thing or different?
Well, a buying group is a little bit different because I guess that's a club. It's a membership and that's a subscription.
Yep.
So this is different. This is owned by the people that buy, it's owned by the tradies that buy shares in the cooperative. They are an owner of it. They are a voice.
Yeah. Which gives them a bit more oomph in the game, right?
Well, it gives them ownership.
Yeah.
Which is something they don't have in the game.
Yeah.
Because they are a small guy.
Yeah. So bringing them. So you guys got this is a good way to go, and you got Mike's obviously involved. And so how's it progressed throughout the years? Like obviously I know, but let's tell the people how, because I think you've had there's some good stories along the way here, and this is I guess what I want to talk to business owners about. As I've been in business a long time now, I just realised business is not a straight line. No. And we've got some interesting people listening to this because I get people texting me and emailing me and hitting me up on LinkedIn saying, hey, I really like that podcast. I've just been starting out or 6 months in or a year in. Yeah. And you hear these different stories of where people are at. And then we've got people that are listening that have been in business for a long time. So it's really cool to, share those in-betweens because a lot of times people only see, hey, what it's like now, 6 years later, you've got X amount of shareholders, you're doing, this and this. But when you started out, what was the game plan?
We didn't really have one, to be fair. It was one of those things where we just sort of, I guess from that point, Mike put us together with a few other guys who had come from the cooperative background.
Okay, yep.
And again, at that point, I still didn't really understand how a cooperative was going to help. We kind of had to work out. Well, firstly, we needed 30 shareholders
Yep.
to be able to create this thing. So we spoke to our lawyer, and she was pretty instrumental in this whole thing
Yep.
taking off, actually, because she did all the disclosure documents for us on a pro bono
Yep.
type basis. And we just put it out there. Hey, look, if anyone wants to get together and talk about your building materials, we're going to be at the lawyer's office.
Nice.
With a couple of dozen beers and a few bottles of wine. And we decided at that point, well, we're either going to do this for our full-time jobs,
Yeah.
or we're going to not do it at all.
So for you, like, obviously part of what you needed was 30 shareholders, and to make the co-op.
Yeah.
And you had to convince and show that it was worth it for people to and put their money in, so they'd be part of that buying group. It must have been pretty you would have been at a point where making some decisions, like, do I stay on the tools and bat my head against the wall, or do I go in and fight for my industry to some degree? Because like, let's be honest, in New Zealand, like, there's probably a group of companies that get all the good buying, unless you're with a group like yourselves.
Yeah, I always sort of put it back to like a movie or a good book. For me, once I commit to it, even if it's terrible, I'll commit to it.
Commit to the book.
Till it's the end.
Nice.
Because I want to know what the end is.
Yeah.
And I probably took the same attitude with that. I was doing okay building. It was certainly tough. Wasn't making a hell of a lot of money, if anything, at one point, as we all go through those stages, in career. But we had the right team behind us, and we just pushed through.
Yeah. So then, okay. So you're at the lawyers. You got a couple of dozen beers and some wine. What happened?
Well, Mike actually made up a bit of a PowerPoint presentation of what the industry looked like.
Yeah.
And we all tried to work out what we collectively spent together.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got to remember, at this point, we didn't even have any supply agreements. We kind of had told people that we had.
Yeah.
We had discussions with suppliers, but a lot of them told us to bugger off.
Yeah.
And some of them said, come to us when you've got your 30 members.
Yeah.
And that's the point we had. So it was a real balancing act. We had 30 shareholders with no, when we were negotiating, 30 shareholders, no suppliers.
Yeah.
And then we had some suppliers with no shareholders. So I was trying to work out the go, no-go situation.
But at the same time, like, you'd have to have full faith that you can pull it off, because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
But you got a PowerPoint presentation, and here's the thing, though. This is what I like. What I've just liked about that conversation. Sometimes people go out there and don't actually go and pitch a PowerPoint presentation. They say they've got this idea, and they go spend a whole bunch of money on things that don't actually get them any business. But they've got a nice business card, great looking website. They've had their car sign written. They've got a flyer and a brochure, but they've got no PowerPoint to pitch it to someone to say, hey, this is our idea. Here's what we've got. Here's what we're doing. If you want to be involved. So I think it's cool that you had that from the start.
But we didn't even have that. We had the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
We didn't have the business cards. We had the idea. We had no deals.
No. But you kind of were in a position where you had to build one. Like, you probably had to get the shareholders on more than...
The way the legislation's written, we had to have the 30.
Yeah.
So that was our no go kind of...
Yeah, if you didn't get 30, then
then it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
And then we thought, if it doesn't work, we'll just go back to our day jobs.
Yeah. Do you remember who the first group of shareholders were? Like, are they, do you remember them at all? Like,
not all 30, but I could pretty much rattle off half of them. And they're all still there now too.
Yeah.
The people don't really leave.
Yeah.
Again,
why would you?
They own it.
They own it.
So,
and it's good for them.
They don't go anywhere.
So it's okay. So you've how long before you got your 30?
We had our 30 when we had the function at the lawyers. We had about 20 at that point.
Nice.
So what we did is we rattled our suppliers along, and we put on another function at the Papanui Club that we all chipped in. So
nice.
we had to pay for beers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess we did it as like a mini building expo.
Yeah, nice.
And that's pretty much when we signed up the 30 at that point. Bearing in mind, we still didn't have a deal at this point.
Yeah. So, but once you got a deal, were you able to go back to the supplier and say, hey, guess what?
Well, one of our suppliers, who was a cooperative as well, Plumbing World, they're one of our top 5. They supported us all the way through.
Brilliant.
In fact, I know when we had that deal, Karen, who was in charge of that, she went back to her board and said, "Hey, look, I've met these 5 gentlemen. They've got this idea. Um, I don't know that it's going to work. I've given them 6 months. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't, it's not going to cost us anything."
Nice.
Now we're their third largest customer in New Zealand.
Brilliant. Good decision by her, eh?
They took a punt.
Yeah. But when you think about it, what were they, like it does make sense. What were they punting on? They were punting on the fact that you'd get more members on and those members would buy from you. You know?
I guess some of the suppliers.
What were they worried about?
The word cannibalization always comes up.
Oh, yeah.
So, some of the merchants, because it's such a controlling industry, and they don't like giving away margin.
Yes.
And if you look at it from a supplier's point of view, here's a group of guys that have got 30 shareholders.
Yeah.
Why would we give them a better deal if we've already got them as customers?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
It does make sense, but I guess they didn't understand the bigger picture.
Yeah, because if a smaller guy can buy more, he can probably do more jobs at a better, and help more people and actually have a better business, which makes the industry a lot more healthier.
Well, level the playing field, isn't it? That's what it was doing.
Yeah.
So we decided at that point that we needed to actually go out and get a proper merchant. So we tapped on the door at all of them. Most of them told us to
go away.
Yeah, in other words. And one of them being Bunnings Trade.
Yep.
They had the same attitude as Bunnings. Well, what have they got to lose? They're either in the tent now.
Yeah.
Or they risk, if this thing does take off, they risk not being in the tent.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, like were they kind of on the outer, or were they traveling pretty good? Did they need you, or did you need what was?
I don't think anybody needed us then.
No.
There's 5 merchants.
Yeah.
If you're building, you can really only go to those 5.
Yeah.
So they didn't need us at all.
Yeah. But they took part. So they went on, and then now how does that look?
So we're in terms of the 2 merchants we deal with, we are in their top 5 spend in New Zealand as well now.
How good.
And one of them's not far off 20 million a year. Yeah. Just in purchasing.
That's awesome.
Which is absolutely massive.
Yeah. That's so cool to hear. Like, because what I was reading, and I was obviously, talking and stuff. We could have called this "No is not an option." This podcast, right? Yeah. Because you got told no a lot, right?
Oh, every day was a little worse words than that. Yeah. We were told to bugger off.
Well, why do you reckon that was? Was that just because they didn't want you?
I think they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Because no one had done. Lots of people have done buy groups. Yeah. The buy group isn't new. They're everywhere. They're across every industry. But no one's done a cooperative for the trade. There are cooperatives in trades. Mitre 10's a cooperative. Yeah. ITM's a cooperative. Yeah. But no one's done a cooperative for the small guy.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, hard work.
Yeah.
We're governed under the Financial Markets Authority because we're selling shares.
Yep.
So that opens up a whole other spectrum.
Yep.
Now we're selling shares. We now have to do disclosure documents.
Yep.
Who's going to do that? If we had to pay for that, 200, 300 grand, 400 grand.
Yeah.
But our lawyer, again, saw the vision.
Yeah.
And she did that for nothing.
Wow. Far out.
Otherwise,
that's pretty cool.
Who's going to tip that money in? Because I wasn't.
No, well, it doesn't. Yeah. You're not thinking that that's going to be worth it, right? But
that's right. Yeah.
But to see someone like that, that's pretty cool to have someone have that vision prepared to back, you guys. Was she related into the industry or anything, or was it just like what you guys were up to?
No, she was a pretty well known construction lawyer, but relatively onto it in terms of cooperative stuff, and had come from that background as well.
Yeah. So what do those no's teach you? Because I know a lot of people, they get no's and that's it for them. That's done and dusted. They don't come back.
Yeah, I mean,
what was it made you come back?
Some of them were tough to deal with. Particularly a lot of that rejection from the suppliers. But we also had a lot of suppliers that wanted to get on board, but we didn't actually want to deal with them as well. So we had a lot of rats and mice suppliers come to, so we had to be really careful to balance that out. I guess first one said no, we went to the next door.
Nice.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, true.
Again, you're selling something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But interesting story about that though is one of the suppliers that did say no initially came back to us and tapped on our door.
Wow.
And their attitude was just that, well, they've come to the point where they need to be in the tent now, otherwise they're going to miss out.
Yeah. How's that sit? Like, you happy with that?
You're pretty chuffed at that
Yeah.
point. You're doing something right when that happens.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool, right?
Because for me, it's just about helping the small guy. I'm a small guy.
Yeah. So to have that come back, it's kind of tells you, hey, we're doing the right thing here, and you're doing the right thing anyway. But it's seeing that the bigger players are kind of starting to realise, hey, these guys are in for the right reason. They're not going away. They're really getting some traction now. So let's get involved. Like, let's otherwise, as you say, we're out of the tent.
Well, that's right. It's just about being able to compete.
Yeah.
If you can't, and it's the same in any business, right? If you can't get your materials or whatever it might be, at the best rate, that's where your margin is.
Yeah.
Because from a builder's point of view, if they can't move, or any trading, as a matter of fact, the next thing they change is their labour rate. And the minute we start changing our labour rates, we're all going backwards. Yeah. And that's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got to try and stay in the game, right? Yeah. So what have you, like, looking back now, like years on, what's some of the most proudest things that you're proud of with this whole thing?
It's certainly opened up doors. We never set out to be a voice of the industry. That was never the mantra. Yeah. I guess now, if there's something good in the news about the construction sector, we're normally there on the news.
I saw that.
And that's because we're not aligned to any other group, so we can kind of say what we want, how we want.
I do like that. I do like that about what you guys are doing.
There's no alliance.
Yeah, when you get on the media, you can be straight to the point, and you don't actually have to toe the line.
That's good.
You can see some people having to toe the line. I watch some of the interviews, and you can tell they're having be careful what you say. Where you're just like, this is how it is.
And that's because we can. Again, we've got no alliances, so we don't. I mean, we got to be careful, but if there's an issue, we'll say it and we'll ask for it. I guess a couple of highlights for us for that is obviously that we worked with the government to get the latest changes in building materials. So pretty chuffed to get that. Where the other groups didn't really do too much.
Because building materials in New Zealand are extremely high compared to other places, right?
Oh, it's out of control.
Yeah. And we've kind of got like a...
We're at the bottom of the world, so we're always going to be like that.
But even with their own products, it's, like there's still some stuff going on there where there's supply, versus, there's demand there. We'll just edge out supply a little bit, and that does go on where we could import other materials.
We could. It's all about volume, and it's all about cost. It's too expensive to bring materials in. It's too expensive to get them to our code. Yeah.
Well, why do you reckon there's so much red tape? Like every business in New Zealand, like this red tape, there seems to be more and more red tape happening.
Oh, we were just talking about that before, weren't we? I think, particularly in the construction sector, we're at the bottom of the world. The red tape's there because it needs to be there because what else are they going to do? I actually don't know the answer to that. But every industry's got red tape, right? Yeah. We need to be able to cut it somehow, and if we can cut it in bits and pieces like we're doing, then we can only make it easier for the guys. Yeah, because your model actually provides, especially for your shareholders, a lot simpler model too, right? Like it's very clear. You join the group, you get a better buying power. Well, what we say, you join the group and you can compete with the big boys. Yeah, and it's plain and simple.
Straight off the bat, hey.
Because if you were spending $200,000 a year at your merchant, you're now in a group that's spending close to $70 million a year.
Yeah, which makes a massive difference, right?
Makes a big difference to your bottom line. And you can safely run your business without having to drop your margin on your labour down. Yeah. You don't have to adjust it.
Do you wish you had your building company now?
No. No.
Left the tools?
Not at all. Yeah, no, this is my gig. Yeah. Although I'm saying that, I do miss it. I absolutely miss the banter on site. Yeah. It's really cool to have that, and I don't get that now.
No, you don't banter with Mike, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, so you've got a few other businesses though with your brother and stuff like that. So what do you love about business? Because you're involved in business. You're an entrepreneurial kind of guy. Yeah. What do you love about business?
I just love not having to answer to anyone really, apart from myself and my wife.
Yeah.
I left school at 15. Yeah. I was always wanted to be a builder.
Yep.
Finished my apprenticeship, started my business, made no money, worked for AMI Insurance, doing insurance work, doing the shittiest jobs you can imagine, you know, replacing doors, replacing toilets.
Was it your own business?
Yeah, it's always been.
Brilliant.
I've never had, I think I'm right with this, I've never actually been an employee
Oh,
of
wow.
a company.
Nice.
Apart from,
When you're doing your apprenticeship?
yeah, apart from that.
Yeah.
And my other claim to fame was, believe it or not, when I was training to be a builder at Polytech, I was a haberdashery manager at Kmart. Now, do you know what haberdashery is?
I think I kind of know.
Knitting needles.
Knitting needles.
That's what I was in charge of.
You're in
at
charge of
Kmart.
knitting needles. It's like far out. That would have been busy though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and just chipped away at trying to build houses. I remember about 2 years after being qualified, I rolled into Stonewood Homes, and it was just me by myself. And I said to them, "Hey, here I am. I want to build some of your houses." And they said to me, "Have you built a house before by yourself?" Of course, I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Of course I have." And I hadn't. But I walked away with my first full build.
Wow.
Labour only build.
Yep.
And I had no clue how to do the thing.
Wow.
So I had to go get my uncle,
Yeah.
who was a builder at the time as well. And he came and helped me.
Nice.
And I kind of built it from there.
Nice. Didn't watch any YouTube videos.
We didn't have YouTube. all my jobs would come out on a fax machine.
Yeah. I thought that was quite funny. You showed your kids something about a fax machine.
No idea.
No idea, right?
No.
Yeah.
I'd get home from work and there'd be, a whole lot of fax machines fax messages on the ground, which is my next jobs.
Yeah. When I was working at Bond & Bond, people come and buy a fax. I'm still blown away how that thing works. Yeah, So that first job though, obviously it takes some remarkable boldness to say, "Hey, give me a go." But you weren't like a rookie though. You weren't like you knew how to swing a hammer.
Well, I was qualified, but that doesn't, it's like anything. You learn every day. You might be qualified, but you actually know nothing.
Yeah.
And we're still learning now.
Yeah. So then you go out with your uncle. Uncle teaches you a bunch of stuff. How long did it take a while?
No. We smashed it out pretty quick.
Yeah,
And then
is it still standing?
got another one. Actually, no, it's not. It did get demoed in the earthquake.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, that is gone now.
Oh well.
Yeah,
that's all right. So you go from there though, like obviously learning a lot, building your own company. Were you marketing yourself at all back in the day, like, or is it how did it go?
No, I didn't. I didn't really do any marketing. Well, when I say I didn't do marketing, yes, I did. I did a lot of door knocking.
Yep.
To insurance companies looking for work. I did also tap on the doors of pretty much every single group builder there was in Canterbury as well.
And was that your pitch? Hey, I'm here. Give me some work. Like was
yeah?
Stonewood.
I would just sell myself.
Yeah.
I'd turn up in a van. Builders have vans or utes. Certainly didn't turn up in flash cars.
Yeah.
Dressed like a builder because I was a builder. And sell myself as I'm looking for labour only work.
Nice.
And that served me well for a number of years.
Yeah. And then you started your own business, like your own company.
Yeah. Then I started getting into more top end builds, and then transitioning from doing labour only to full contracts.
Nice.
Which was pretty tough too.
Yeah.
You're now taking credit risk. You're buying materials and hoping the client's going to pay you. Did a lot of things. A lot of contracts written on the bonnets of vehicles. Yep. On a piece of paper. Yeah. Or the pack of cigarettes. A lot of those sort of deals going on.
It's like obviously as the years have gone on, that's probably why there is more red tape. These days.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the other businesses that you have, like you have a security business with monitoring on sites and stuff. It's interesting to see how that whole game is. Obviously. It's sad that you kind of have to have that, but you have to have it on sites and that now, right? All that security sort of stuff. Where did that idea come from?
ATF is my brother and myself. So Glenn, my brother, he's a builder as well, and he worked for me well before the earthquakes. And we were overseas on a builder's beer trip. Yeah. And we met the guys from ATF, and they were quite keen to get a presence into Canterbury. So they sent a shipping container of fences over. Yep. And the idea was, because we didn't have too much work on at that point, the idea was that the boys could go and do fencing on a Friday, Glenn would go out selling it and installing it.
Yep.
And then the earthquake hit.
Yeah.
And kaboom.
Yeah.
We became really big, really fast.
Yeah.
And then over time, Glenn's transitioned it from, with that, obviously the help of head office over in Aussie, more into the cameras and the IoT stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big business now, that one.
And it's obviously serving a demand of a market, right? With the security side of it.
Yeah. We were, particularly with the cameras, we were the first to do that here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we were quick to saturate the market so that we could have a presence.
Yeah.
Again, we didn't do too much marketing with that, but we figured, like anything, if we can hit the market hard and fast and be known for that product, then we should be able to beat the competitors every time.
Yeah.
And now I think we've got about 6 or 7 competitors.
Yeah. One thing I noticed with your product though is the quality of it. Was that a conscious decision to go with the quality? Because in like your fencing and the winds and stuff, like it's very, like it stands up.
Ours is heavy. Generally doesn't blow over.
Yeah.
The cameras, anyone can go buy a camera from Bond to Bond, all that means. But ours are, very real top-notch quality. And it's also the software behind that we own and run for it as well. ATF does.
Yeah. So do you own like the South Island, or how does that all work?
So Glenn and myself, we're the, the South Island agent
Nice.
for ATF. We've had that for about 18 years now.
Yeah.
So
you do see it quite a lot on sites and stuff like that.
That's everywhere. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good business. Glenn runs that, and he does a really good job of that. That's good.
Nice. Hey, so in 2019, you won the Co-op Leader of the Year.
That was a surprise.
So that is a conference that you go to, is it? And you because all the co-ops in New Zealand go to that.
Yeah.
And you won the leader. Like that was a surprise, but you must have been pretty stoked to win recognition of what you were doing with the building co-op.
Yeah, no, it was good. We didn't set out to. We didn't want glory or anything. We didn't set out to get any awards. It just kind of happened. But when you're up against chief executives, like off Fonterra, Silverfern Farms, and those guys, pretty cool to walk away with that.
Yeah.
So no, we were chuffed. It was a whole team. It's got my name on it, but it was everyone behind it. They got that.
Yeah. But still great to get a recognition of because I think the thing I like about you guys is you really do know who your customer is. You do know who you're going into bat for, and that's when you I think when you have that kind of vision and that focus, you can really create something, and it makes the times that you do get those no's a lot not so easier at the time, but you can keep moving. Because I know for me, I can hear a no, but I'll keep moving forward.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't. Because no's only for today.
No, exactly.
Try again tomorrow.
And I think that's a real skill, right? And it's a mindset too, which I think where did you develop a mind? Did you do any reading in that, like from a mindset perspective?
No, I actually don't. I just don't enjoy reading books, to be honest. I don't really do anything like that.
You don't listen? Listen.
I don't even listen. No. I just like to listen to music.
Yeah.
No, I haven't really taken too much away from books. Probably because I speed read.
Yeah.
I miss it all.
Where did you get mindset though? Like, because is it just, did you have a role model growing up? Was there anyone that you really noticed what they were doing and that's a good way to do it? I'll do that.
I've always got role models, your parents, but probably in terms of business, probably my uncle, who was a builder, and probably always wanted to be like what Gav was.
Yeah.
But building is one of those things where you just got to keep doing it. You can't. It's not one of those things where you. And I see the young guys start now. They start up and good on them. They go buy a new ute and all the flashiest gear, but it's hard to make money.
Yeah.
It takes years.
Yeah.
Most builders fall over within a first 2-3 years, like any business.
Yeah.
You just got to slog away at it.
Yeah.
And then when you build a name for yourself, work generally just comes in organically.
Yeah.
You don't have to do too much.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when you really need to kick in and do your marketing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important as well.
Yeah.
You've got to market yourself.
Yeah.
Whether your business or yourself. You have to do it.
You definitely see it when times get tough. I was talking to someone the other day, architectural business, 10 years, gone really well. now I haven't had a job for 6 months. It's like, what marketing you do? I don't do any.
Yeah.
You know? So they got to that point where they were getting work, and it was all good, but never spent any of that money back into the market to, hey, this is who I am, here's who we are, here's who we help, here's what we can do for you. None of that. And now 10 years later, the tap's got turned off, and it's like they don't actually know what to do with it. So I think if anything, if you're building, you should be definitely looking at what could you do to build some of that brand into the marketplace. Because if you don't, it's real. Like, and I think in Christchurch and probably Canterbury, we've had it a little bit different because obviously we had those earthquakes, and there was like so much work. And in some areas there's still so much work, right?
Yeah.
And we're starting to talk to some businesses now that are kind of coming to the end of that work and are going, actually, we've got money, we need
some work.
We know we're smart enough now probably to invest before it really dries out. So you can see that starting to play out too. So,
and you've got to be able to switch too. Like, I know a lot of tradies, they'll just do the one thing, but you have to almost crystal ball it and work out, right, where is my next job? Is it 6 months? Is it 12 months? Or is it a month? And what you need to be able to do is be able to shift. So, I know when I was doing it, if I didn't have any houses to build, well, I'd go out and find fences to build, or decks to build, or bathrooms to do. And I guess that's where the ATF fencing kind of thing came in about. Where can I earn some money where there's no money at the moment?
Yeah.
Just looking for those opportunities, those gaps.
Yeah.
That no one else is doing it. Because there's gaps in every industry.
Yeah. It's like I was talking to a Sparky, and I was like, mate, he was like a bit drying up on work, and I said, mate, so we did a bit of a brainstorming session in here, and I said to him, so what have you done a lot of? And he'd done a lot of EV chargers.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, go back and talk to all those houses. How many have you done? I've done 40. Cool. Go back and do...
40 customers there.
I was like, go back and do a warrant of fitness on the EV charger. He goes, well, it doesn't need it. I says, it doesn't matter. I says, it's service. You're giving a service, and then when you're there, you're in the door, and you can say, hey, by the way, do you know I can do this, this, and this?
That's exactly right.
I said, mate, you come to my house, there's probably 10 jobs you could do as a Sparky. So there's always work if you look hard enough, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And most tradies, they are brilliant at doing their job. They're brilliant at plastering or building or whatever. Yeah. What they're not good at is running the business. Yeah. They can't market. Yeah. They quite often they can't even sell themselves because they can't talk.
No, because they're good at what they're doing.
They're good at their job, and that's it. So they need that help. Yeah. Yeah. There is help out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you just got to look for it in the right place, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like what you said about keeping your eyes open, looking for gaps, and that's if you can, even teaching young builders that, that'd be quite a good handy thing to teach them. Hey, look, you might be busy now, but make sure you keep your eyes on the horizon. I find a lot of them, they do look good though. They got all the nice gear,
I can tell you now from my experience, I used to pick up more work rolling up in my beaten down, shitty old van on ute than what I would turn up in a brand spanking new Ford Ranger. I'd always win that job over the guy who was driving the ute.
Really?
Always.
Does it look like you've got experience?
Well, it looks like you actually know your job. And that's one thing I noticed with the younger guys. They don't tend to do that. Maybe it's a different generation than me. I'm not that old, but I appear to be a different generation now. Yeah. They'll turn up in their brand new utes, and I guess it's that now generation, isn't it? They want it now.
They want it now.
And that doesn't exist.
No. Well, the thing is now, I was actually talking to someone probably about a year ago on this, and how probably Afterpay has changed a generation because no one actually has to go and work for it anymore. You can have what you want, and you can pay for it over 4 months. Where probably myself and you included, like we would have had to have worked. Yep. I remember I wanted a pair of Converse Cons. Cool. You got to go work for them. So I was doing 2 jobs, earning them to save money to buy a pair of Converse Cons. Where now my son could go and get a pair of Converse Cons, and well, he can't because he's 11. But if he wanted to, he can Afterpay it and have it
without putting money down.
So it's a different way of thinking, and I think I think I'd rather have it the other way, personally, where you've got to go save the money. But that's just not how it is today, right?
Everything's cashless, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's probably the cause of that.
Yeah. And these companies make a lot of money doing that. What's your take on marketing then? Like, what should businesses be doing with your marketing?
Well, I mean, if you look at the cooperatives point of view, we used to do our marketing in-house, which worked for a little while. But I think in terms of our success, having the right people and the right company advise and do your marketing is probably the most important thing. And tipping some money into it too, as we've learned. Unless you're throwing money at it, it doesn't really work. So if I got to do it again 20 years ago, mind you, Facebook wasn't there.
No.
I would have done it.
Yeah.
But I guess we did it differently, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I'd always market. You have to, whether you do it yourself, Facebook, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. It's free, isn't it?
Yeah.
Free advertising. Love it.
Yeah, perfect. It's a great platform to be on. Go on that platform, share what you're doing, share some value, and you've got a whole bunch of people there that are professional.
Having the team, we've engaged you guys, and our sales are going very well.
Yeah.
We leave you guys to do your job. We don't get involved in it, and it works. And it's been hard for us to let that go. But what it's taught us is that if we let the professionals do their job, we get good results.
Yeah. And look, I find that, we find that a lot because sometimes that loads of control, you don't want to let it go and you were having results. I think also though, businesses, you've got to be marketing, you've got to be branding, you've got to be advertising, and I call it the MBA. It's the real MBA, marketing, branding and advertising. And you need to be doing that in the marketplace and you need to be doing it consistently. And I think today's the craziest part where, like I was showing a guy before, he sells some cars and he sells some pretty unique cars. And I was like, cool, okay, who would buy this? And he told me it'd be a farmer and blah, 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 blah. I was like, cool, okay, so here's an area of farming. We can put a pin on this area and we can advertise around here and we'll get a target between the age of, 35 and 60. And where he knew his target market and we can advertise directly to that. And so he's telling, he couldn't believe it, that the ad would only appear there on their mobile phones or on their...
Pretty good.
That wouldn't appear here in Christchurch because no one's buying that product here. So he's giving himself a chance to actually sell that product.
You've got to be seen, don't you?
Yeah. And I think that's the game today. Like you have to be seen. You have to, there was an old saying, you can't sell a secret. And it's so true, right? If no one knows who you are, you don't have any relevancy in the marketplace.
Well, you've got a free billboard with 4 wheels, right?
Yeah.
And so many guys don't take up that opportunity.
Yeah.
Free billboard on 4 wheels.
Yeah, 4 wheels. Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. A fully sign-written vehicle can go a long way, and you can see the guys that do it well in the industry too. Like there's some really strong brands out there in the marketplace that have done it well for 30 plus years now.
There is.
And kudos to them as well because as it takes a lot to grow a business and to really there's so many facets to growing a business, right?
But even doing marketing a little bit differently, like my wife's business, she's been getting a lot of her work out of print media, which has actually been quite good.
Yeah.
Which has been a little surprising, but the results are speaking for that too.
Yeah.
So simple ad in the paper.
Yeah.
You work from that still now too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the beautiful thing, advertise where the people are. Or where your people are. I was looking just because I'm curious, and people will say, "Oh, the newspaper's dead," but I'm like, maybe not for some target market. So I was seeing a lot of people.
I don't think it is.
Some people are advertising cruises, healthcare. So if you're a smart advertiser and you know who your buyer is, then you'd be there.
Yeah.
The challenge is, and I was talking to a business here this morning about this. They were going to do some radio, and I told them not to. And the reason for it is they were going to do one month.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, right? You're actually just wasting your money.
Right.
And also,
done that.
one of the reasons they were going to do it is because they were going to get some tickets to a concert. And I'm like, seriously, you're going to spend that money because of that? You better just spend your money elsewhere because 1 month is not going to.
No.
Not going to.
I tipped 30 grand into once. A long time ago, probably 2004, into radio.
Yeah.
Hey, look, the overseas trips were great. It's one of those things, though. As you say, it's volume, so you've got to be doing a lot of it.
Yeah.
But for a building business or a tradie business, you can't gauge if it's working.
No.
because you don't have people coming to the door.
Yeah.
So you're right. You've got to find your audience.
Yeah.
Where are they? And get in front of their face.
Yeah. And
by all means.
So I've a kind of a formula built up over the years: consistency of message. Have a message that's consistent, right? And be really clear on who you are, where you are, and who you help, and why they should do business with you, right? Be really clear on that. Get it solid, and then you've got to have that frequency of reach with them. So you've got to show up again and again and again, because here's the thing: people they won't see you the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, but they might see you on the eighth. And that's because when you become relevant, and the relevancy point is the bit, because if people constantly see, maybe they're not in the market for building a house or building a deck or whatever you're doing, but all of a sudden they start thinking about it, and you're there and they remember your name, then you get to be on the shopping list. It's when you're not on the shopping list that you don't grow your business, and you get caught when it's good, because there's plenty of business and there's plenty of referrals and there's heaps going on. It's when when it gets a wee bit tougher and tighter, probably like what we're seeing now, that people start going, oh crikey, what are we going to do? You know,
people leave it too late, don't they? They actually don't. I don't know about you or your clients, but I know. Back in the day when I was doing it, I didn't think about my marketing until it was too late.
Yeah.
And when it's too late,
we're lucky because we've been around a long time, so we've kind of got we see the both sides of it now. Yep. We see the clients that are very successful. They're already putting the hammer down a year ago. They knew what was going on. They kind of they read the market, what's happening, or they hear the little rufflings and they go, cool, we'll do it again, because they've been through the cycles, so they know, right? And it's really interesting. Mike James from Novus, I remember him saying to me, Scotty, we don't market for the recession, we market for the rebound. And that was really, really clear to me. You know, like he wasn't putting money in today to get to take market share. He's going to take it along the way and get the upswing. And I think that's the real skill. But it's a mindset too, right? Like not everyone can do that, because people get worried. Is it going to work? All that sort of stuff. So you do see, then you do see the other one. So I got a classic example last week. Go and see a big hotel, beautiful inside. What have you done for marketing? Oh, we ran a newspaper ad. And really, like inside that hotel, inside the restaurant upstairs, beautiful. They've probably spent about 30 grand on the whiskey. And no money on the marketing, and now it's biting because they're not getting the occupancy back in the door. So you just really got to weigh it up, but you've always got to be marketing, always got to be branding, always got to be advertising.
You're right. It's that mindset. If I'm going to tip, and if I'm going to tip 5 grand, 10 grand, whatever it is, into marketing, you're not going to see that result straight away. You've got to think, right, I should see this in 12 months. And keep at it until it works. It's
an investment, and
change it until it works.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about marketing. You can change it, right? I would say if you stay on your message, like I always say, you need to design your marketing strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want. So design that strategy. Okay, your wife's like, okay, she's got the strategy. Okay, here's the tactic. Newspaper. Let's get into that and give it a go. Hey, hang on, this is a tactic that's working. Boom. We'll keep doing this. We'll keep testing it till as long as it's working. Right? Okay. Part of that strategy. What's another tactic? But we've designed the strategy first to then go and pick the tactics.
Yeah.
Most people just pick a tactic, and then that didn't work. Well, how long did you give it a go for? Well, 2-3 months.
Not long enough. 12 months.
And it's not your fault. Like it's kind of sound here like I'm just on a high horse here, but I just see it. You see the ones that have done it for a period of time, and then all of a sudden it just goes like that, because they get that brand recognition it's in the marketplace, and when people remember them, and all of a sudden people need to start buying.
Yeah.
Boom.
Pick up the phone. You got the work again.
Yeah. And it does come down to relevancy, how people see how relevant you are, and they remember you. I always love doing the one at the seminars, and I always say, if I say the word soft drink, you already think
Coke.
Yeah, and if I say fast food,
fish and chips.
Yeah. And
was I supposed to say that?
Well, it's up to you.
I could have said McDonald's.
Yeah, but they...
You're right, actually. No, I would have said McDonald's, to be fair.
But they own your mind share, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But if I say Deck Builders Christchurch...
Oh, yeah. Well, where do I look? Yeah. I'm going to say myself at the moment.
Yeah. And if I say, security cameras Christchurch, if I say fencing, so you got to think, if you're a business owner listening to this, you got to think about what is it that you want people to know about your business, and what mind share do you want them to own when they think about your business? And some businesses have taken that. The challenges businesses have now, you might have taken that on radio, you might have taken that mind share on radio, but now how many people are listening to radio? So if you're not actually in social media, you might lose that mind share with a group of people, right? So you actually have to look at the way it's going and where your customers are, and that's probably one of the biggest things is, okay, where do they hang out? Where can you reach them? And if you understand that, because you've looked at your strategy, you can design a strategy and those tactics around that, so that you grow that mind share.
One of the things we picked up is, I see you circling there, is that our customer, although our customer is the tradie, we learned really quickly that we actually had to get in front of the tradie's partner, their wife.
Yeah.
They were actually the customer because they were the ones sitting at home doing the zero and doing the bookwork.
Interesting.
Not Johnny, who was out there swinging a hammer. He didn't care less. He was just out there to work.
Yeah.
So we had to almost target our marketing for tradies, but somehow get in front of the wives.
Yeah.
And we managed to do that by putting on kitchen events.
Nice.
Which worked quite well. And just sort of subtle marketing, but simple marketing, not complicated. Because there's nothing worse than seeing an advert and you're sitting there thinking, well, how the hell does that work? What is the deal here? Yeah. It's got to be simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be simple. It's got to be very clear. I think Donald Miller said it best: if you have to read too much and it's too confusing, a confused mind never buys because it falls asleep because it has to consume too many calories.
Simple with bang, basically.
I like that. Simple with bang. It's really cool that you did notice it though, that who your real buyer was.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day, and they were all about that. It's the females that's getting them to the decision. I was like, well, who signs the contracts? And they were like, basically, most of them are females that are signing our contracts. And it's like, but if you looked from the outside, it would look like a male-dominated. He says, but that was kind of their secret sauce. They knew who. So a lot of their advertising. So I was looking at their marketing. I was like, great, this is great. Okay, this is your target market. Okay, go and get more testimonials from females.
Yeah.
And they were like, perfect. They'd never thought of it, And I was like, well, when you think about it, and we talked about it, and they were like, oh, that's genius, But it was a simple thing, more testimonials from females, because females will read the testimonials and they go, oh, they're just like me, And that's what you want people to. You want them to see themselves inside your testimonials, where they go, oh, that's for me.
No, you do right. Yeah.
It's quite a cool thing to realise, right? And then obviously tailor your marketing towards that. Because a lot of people would just not see it.
No, they didn't. It took us a wee while. But we got it. We were, like I say, we were doing events at Noel Lehman's. Little cooking shows.
Yeah.
Attended pretty well. We did things like ham giveaways and things like that.
Because the partner would be saying, hey, we're spending this much money too on these supplies. Well, you're telling me I could buy this for this amount? Like that would have been a real eye-opener for them.
Oh, yeah, no. And also getting past the mindset of what we're used to, And what I mean by that is that we get stuck in our ways. Like we call them a placemaker builder, a Bunnings builder, and a Mitre 10 builder. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, you'd probably never get a placemaker builder going into Bunnings. And you'll never get a placemaker builder. Bunnings builder going into placemakers. Yeah. So how do we get into that, and how do we get in front of them? But once they realise that they're still, which is pretty stupid, they're still buying the same material. It's the same stick of timber. It's just from a different colour shop. And it's getting them out of that mindset because they don't have the rep in their back ear saying, hey, you need to keep buying off me. And they only got to keep buying off him because he's getting a bit of commission. So trying to smash through that one.
Was it? I was going to say that would have been a hard one, right? Because there's definitely a bit of loyalty there. Kind of like Ford versus Holden, that type of scenario. But at the same time, it's the same product to some degree.
It's the same thing. They all sell the same thing. It's just on a different shelf and a different price.
Yeah, look. I remember working at Placemakers while I was studying, and there was a real loyalty around
Oh yeah,
who you built for.
yeah.
If you were Placemakers,
Who was your merchant?
yeah, who was your merchant, eh?
Yeah.
And to be fair, they did they looked after their people real well, taking away on trips and all that sort of stuff. And there's always stuff going on.
It still happens now. And you just got to decide: do I want points to go overseas to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Or do I want to make my business profitable and pay for a trip instead?
Yeah.
That's what I used to do. I never used to take the trips.
Yeah. Well, you could probably take more trips.
You get way more bang for buck.
Yeah.
Way more bang for buck. Yeah.
Very interesting though. Like as far as like when you look at the whole industry, where do you see the landscape really starting to evolve now? Because you guys have become quite a significant player.
Yeah.
More and more people are starting to go, hang on, this is something. Where do you see the future for you guys?
Cooperatives generally last forever, right?
Yep.
So my vision, there's no reason why we won't get to 10,000 shareholders in the future.
Yep.
That's our vision, and it will happen.
Yeah.
As long as we keep doing what we're doing and evolving it, we will get there.
Yeah.
SBS Bank's 150 years old, they're cooperative.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of vision
Good standard.
we've got.
Yeah.
We are fast becoming the biggest purchaser of building materials in New Zealand. But we just want to make sure that also, although we're getting very large, that we are still servicing the small guy.
Yeah.
So that's what we were set out to do. Level the playing field for the small guy.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's what I called the podcast when Mike was on it, level the playing field, because that is the key too, right? And so to 10,000 shareholders like you're definitely you are the biggest player there, aren't you? Like you're without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
We've got a voice already, so it can only get bigger.
Yeah.
We don't want to change what we're doing.
No.
We just want to make sure that the small tradie can compete and make his business profitable.
Yeah.
That's all it is. There's nothing else to it.
You're seeing, you're starting to get some pretty cool success stories now coming through too as well, right? Like that's pretty pleasing.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's we're not there to sit in the middle. We're not there to tell the guys how to run their business, but we are seeing good success. We're seeing guys now being able to compete. They're now able to grow their business. Some have dropped away, but most are doing really well.
Yeah.
We're helping them do other things. We're starting to move into helping them with contracts, which is something that a lot of them need help with as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. You must see other areas that that builders need help with, right? Like as you said at the start, builders are good at building. So I guess you could now build that network around what you're creating to help facilitate some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, one of the things, probably the biggest thing I picked up on out of this whole exercise is that prior to having this, you didn't really have anyone to talk to. You were pricing jobs, but you didn't dare go and talk to one of the builders down the road to see how his business was going, because no one's ever going to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
No one does that here in New Zealand.
No.
When we started this, we noticed quite quickly that people didn't mind talking about their problems, talking about what jobs they were losing, talking about who owed the money, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it created a community of openness, I guess, which is really important. You need to be able to know what your competitor's doing. And when your competitor openly talks to you, well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because we're all here for the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, there's a lovely saying that people come for the content, but they stay for the community.
Yeah.
And I think, they've come for the content of what you guys offer as a group from that buying perspective, but staying for the community. You make the community stronger, because a business is really lonely. And actually, I'm talking to an accountant last week about this, and how she deals with a lot of business owners, and she finds a lot of them are lonely in what they're doing on a day-to-day. So you create that community, and you can have that, hey, I'm a builder and this is what we're talking about. Because, it's probably from a mental health perspective, it's a good thing as well, because a lot of people and a lot of builders in New Zealand probably don't talk to each other, and they should, A
lot of builders don't come to work the next day.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. In fact, we're actually working with a firm in Australia at the moment over that. So we believe that there's a gap in the market for mental health for small guys.
Yeah.
There's guys there looking after the big guys, but no one doing it for the small guys.
Yeah. So and that's a crucial part to it, right? Like just talking about stuff. And I think that's
Yeah.
the coolest thing about what you created there is you probably never thought about that when you started. Like you came at a bat for the small guy, but all these other areas now, as you say, start to open up going,
So many doors.
man, we could have an impact here, we can have an impact here, we can have an impact here.
Yeah. Problem we've got is there's only 40 hours in the week.
Yeah.
So you can't reinvent everything.
No.
We'd like to break into all sorts of things,
Yeah.
but what we're doing at the moment works.
Yeah.
And we don't really want to upset it.
No.
So we'll just keep trucking, keep looking after the small guy,
Yeah.
being a voice for them.
Yeah. So, like, let's just think about that for a second for the small guy. Okay, if you were starting your business again, and you're starting off, what are 5 things you would recommend a small guy does? Obviously, the first one is join the cult.
Well, absolutely, because you need to be able to get your materials at the right price, right?
Yep.
Look, I think what I probably didn't do is talk to my mates.
Yep.
I went and spoke to an accountant, which is probably the right thing to do.
Yep.
This is 1999 actually.
Yep.
And if that wasn't enough to scare me away, I still carried on. Wanted to be a self-employed builder. 5 things that I would say guys need to do now would be talk to your mates, because your mates are the backbone, right? You need to be able to talk to them. They give you that real honest advice as to how you're doing and what you should be doing. Secondly, I think you need to work out what market you want to press into. I just did everything because I knew that if I did everything, an opportunity would come out of it. So just sort of getting into everything so that if it did get quiet, you can fall back to something else. You've also got to get your partner involved too, don't you? Your wife, your partner, whatever. You need their support. If you haven't got their support, you're not going anywhere. Because at the end of the day, it's their business too.
Yeah, true.
And
Massively.
And it affects them as well.
Yeah.
So it's probably all I do, to be honest. It's not like building's a funny one, because you can start up business with pretty much zero cost.
Yeah.
You need a van, 10 grand, you need some tools, but other than that, you don't really need anything. So it's easy to start.
Yeah.
But it's hard to continue with.
Yeah.
And you tend to just learn. I don't think there is 5 things I do, Scott, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple of things you shouldn't do. And I think that we could add to that. You don't need to go and buy a flashy used.
You don't need a brand new Ford Ranger.
No.
You need a van. You need to look like a tradie.
Yeah.
Whatever that might look like in your market, you need to look like a tradie.
Yeah.
If you are.
Yeah. And also, I think, to add to that, is probably get a mentor, someone around you that you can, it's good to talk to your mates, and I've definitely done that, but get someone who's a little bit further ahead on the line, down the track than you. And I think that's what your uncle was for you, right?
That's exactly what
he was a little bit further down the road, and I think if anything, get a mentor, get someone, and you don't have to, the one thing I would say, if you get a mentor, like you find someone who's down the track of what you want to do, go and ask them some questions, listen to them, and if they give you any advice, just follow through, and then report back what you've done. And I know I've done that in the past, and it's worked wonders for me. Is getting someone else involved and
probably just not being scared to ask a question, or just being scared to not ask for the work. You just got to ask.
Yeah.
People will quite happily answer, even your competitors. That's one thing I learned. I was really scared about talking to my competitors.
Yeah.
Until this thing started.
Yeah.
Now I ask some questions, and I think they give me honest answers.
Yeah. Well, why were you scared? Just because you didn't?
Probably just felt embarrassed, I guess, because you're up against a builder who's got 20 staff, and then there's you that's just by yourself and a dog. So, probably just scared to ask.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I thought that.
Made a bit embarrassed, but it's just all you're doing is thinking of things that they're not even thinking of, right? Like it's the old brain giving you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but then you go talk to them now, and you realise, man, I should have asked earlier. I should have been bold enough to, just ask those questions. And I don't think that's a good lesson for people to learn, though, right? And I don't think you can learn that unless you do it.
You learn by your mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And we all make those.
Well, I reckon, success leaves clues, but so does failure.
Absolutely.
and those mistakes, I know in our business, we get better in rough seas, versus better in calm seas. Like no sailor learned anything in a calm sea. They learn it in the rough seas. And that's why I kind of like these environments that we're in now. I don't mind the rough sea because it makes us sharper. It makes the playing field a little bit less crowded because people go away. And it's for the people who work hard. These are their markets,
That's right.
They're not afraid of pushing it, and they're not afraid of going out there and asking those questions, or going and putting the hammer down and marketing. So I think it's a good time. It's a good time if you can have hard conversations too, when it's tougher, because you need to have some of those tough conversations. So
No, you absolutely need to do that.
yeah. But look, to be fair, I really like what you said about talking to your mates, like definitely having some group of people around you that you can have good, honest conversations with, because your mates know who you are.
Well, they're going to give you non-biased opinions, aren't they?
Yeah.
They might laugh at you along the way.
Yeah. What did your mates think of you starting a co-op? Did they like, what's a co-op?
Oh, yeah, no, well, yeah, my I guess my business partners at the time said to me, I think it was a little selfish actually. They said, well, how are we going to make money out of this? And I said, well, we're not. This isn't a money-making venture. This is actually to help my business because I needed to be able to buy better. So it was helping our business. That's all it was. But my mates in building, when I was building, it was at that point in life where, you're 18, 19, they're all out partying, going to town, and so was I. But I had to be up at 7 in the morning the next day and go to work. So I couldn't really party like a lot of them. Got laughed at a fair bit, but a lot of my mates now, they're all very successful people too. So we're all in a wee group.
Yeah, that's cool, eh?
Yeah. We all help each other.
Help each other out. Yeah, I like that too.
And it works. Stick together.
Yeah. I like what you said about partner too, getting your wife involved and now I think those conversations because, that's kind of, it's a good thing that they know what's going on and also at the same time push you a sounding board and, know what's really going on. And I think, when you see successful businesses, whether it's a male or female, whatever, the partnership is there, right? And that's really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they get you through the downs, don't they?
Yeah, and kind of pull your head back in if you get too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah, well, that's an issue too. Yeah.
Hey man, this has been an awesome chat. Like it's gone really, really fast too.
No,
is there anything anything you'd want to share else that you haven't shared? Because we've covered a lot, but would you want to talk to maybe some people that are looking at the co-op and what would you say to them?
I'd say the thing is real. We get a lot of people that look at our advertising some type and say, is this too good to be true?
Yeah.
Well, it actually is.
Yeah.
We've got guys that not only join up because of it being able to help their business, we have members that join just for the cause of it. So that's pretty special. So I guess to everyone that is looking to make their business more profitable, we are a real good reason to help that.
Yeah.
And the thing is real and we're not going away in a hurry.
Yeah.
We're here for good.
Yeah. And the fact is you have a number of shareholders now. What are you up to now?
1,505.
1,505. So there's proof there, right? And so that you can look at it and say it's too good to be true. But I'd say one thing to you: be curious about why 1,505 people have joined. Be curious about that, and don't dismiss it without having a good conversation with these guys because the thing is real. The momentum starts to grow, and why not get involved now? Because
don't be scared of change. This thing is change.
Yeah.
And it's changed for good.
Yeah, changed for good, eh? It's very, very cool. It's very cool. It's good that someone's done it, like obviously plenty of people probably would have thought about it, but no one did it. Maybe someone tried it, but they got told no and stopped. So you got told no and kept going.
We just, as a team, and I can't reiterate that anymore, as a team, we just pushed on through.
Yeah. Yeah,
and we keep evolving. Day to day.
Yeah, and it's cool that you have got a good team around that. Like really focused on the bigger picture, helping the smaller guy.
Having the right person in the right role. Is very important in business.
Yeah,
you can't do everything yourself.
Yeah,
at some point you need to get the professionals in to do the things that you can't do, or so that you can actually chase the dollar productive work.
Yeah, so good. Paul Wright from Harcourt's told me that yesterday. He said, Scotty, you got to focus on the dollar productive work. Got him in to do a bit of a chat for 10 minutes.
Good.
All right. Hey, appreciate everyone listening to the podcast, watching the podcast. Thank you, Carl, for being on.
Thanks, Scott.
We're going to put your details, etc., in the show notes. But if people want to get hold of you, where do they get hold of you?
www.cbscoop.co.nz.
That's perfect. So we'll put all the details in there for the co-op and Carl's details, etc. So you guys can get a hold of him. Hey, and if you know someone, you know a builder, you know a sparky, a plumber, etc., a tradie that needs some help with regards to their pricing, etc., make sure you go and pass them this podcast. Share it with them because who knows, you'll be able to help someone. So that's my only other request today. If please just share the podcast. We're getting some great downloads. More and more people are watching and tuning in and listening, and we're getting some great people sharing the podcast. We're getting some great people commenting back and having some great phone calls with people. So yeah, please just share the podcast. We've got some great episodes coming up as well. So for now, thank you for your time. Have fun, and as always, go out there and take some action.